Be free like the wind. That thought came to me because I was contemplating what I was going to speak on today. And so sometimes I just sit down and go, Great Spirit, flow through me. Tell me what to speak on. And I was thinking about a lot of different things that are happening in the world. But I was also thinking about not wanting to think about what's happening in the world. And then this thought came to me, be free like the wind, because that's an Apache thought. Once we were free like the wind, I think is the quote. Could have been Geronimo. I think it was Goyathle, Geronimo. Goyathle, one who yawns. And I started thinking about freedom and suppression and all the things that are going on that are kind of oppressive right now in the world, and we know what they are, and I've talked about them in the past, and you can look at my videos and see all the things that are going on in the world. And basically, like my last video, I talked about how the corporations controlled everything, suppress people, put them in slavery. And I was thinking about the Apache people and what they went through, because I was raised in Arizona with them, although that's not my tribe, but I know a lot about them. And I know a lot about their mindset and their tactics and their, the Apache warrior and scout and tracker were probably, bar none, some of the best guerrilla fighters, tacticians, uh, people that could live at one with the land and virtually make themselves invisible. I mean, they were just awesome. And they still are. And that's how you have to think, is like that you want to be free, like the wind. Because really, we're all free. The only thing that makes us think we're not is us believing that we're not. And you see all this stuff swirling around, in the political circles, and all this, warfare going on. And I won't even mention a country right now because it's always going on. And there's always an agenda for that. And it's an evil agenda, and it's a agenda that sucks the life out of people. In fact, life in general, the journey through some of the stuff that people are exposed to is just incredibly oppressive and depressing. So you have to think like the wind. You have to think that you're free like the wind. And you are. And that means being a free spirit. And that means being a spiritual warrior. Okay? It means thinking or having a different mindset than the normal person walking along in the park, or the normal person you would see in the supermarket or whatever. Because most of those people are used to being slaves. Okay? And I'm not saying that they're any worse or any better. I mean, we're all slaves. There's no getting around it. Slaves to something. But thinking about being free and free like the wind, and thinking with a sense of conviction, okay, that no matter what anybody does, says, no matter whatever happens in your life, what incident might come up or obstacle or whatever form it takes, there's that one word: detachment, contemplation, awareness. Well, I guess that's three words. But contemplation and awareness and detachment kind of all go together. They all go together. Contemplation, detachment, and awareness. Because when you detach, you can contemplate. And contemplation is not worry. It's just like, oh yeah, you're looking at a picture. Okay, you're looking at the bigger picture. You're contemplating the scenery of life. Okay, and this makes you aware. But it doesn't necessarily have to make you upset. It doesn't have to make you anxious. Because when you're that way, you suffer. So you have a choice about suffering spiritually. I think that if more people would think about detaching, but see, it's a spun out society. People are spun out. Okay, it's like they're on a drug. They're spun, is the term, and it's like they don't have a they don't have the time to relax. They don't have the time to just think about the big picture and what surrounds them and what is going on so that they can send out the kind of energy that they need to send out to others or send good energy to themselves. That freedom feeling, that feeling of taking a deep breath, the yoga of life. Okay, life should be like yoga, and that means union with goodness, or the ancient of ancients, or if you want to call it God, or if you want to call it the benevolent flow of things, because all this stuff that we're living in, the ether, the movie that we're living in or watching with detachment is malevolent. Okay, so think about benevolent forces, okay, on your side, backing you. They have your back. They're covering your ass, so to speak. Benevolent forces. Surround yourself with these benevolent energies and benevolent thoughts, and it's a protection. It makes you have this feeling of like freedom, like the wind. And if it's a personage, that kind of projects you off into this feeling, whether it be Buddha or Yeshua or anything, use that as a springboard. But this feeling free like the wind is a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual thing. It's not a physical thing. You have to be free in your mind before you can be free in your, physically. You have to give no mind to things of a mundane nature. So, like I was saying, life is a yoga, and I don't think people even that do yoga know what yoga is. Okay, yoga is now the ones that do these exercises, the asanas where you get into these different positions, they just go through the motions sometimes. But what I tell people is when you do yoga, it's like when you get up in the morning and you do that stretch and you go, oh, that feels so good. Because you're stretching your body and you're working out the kinks and you're letting the energy flow. And it's just a spontaneous thing. So that's what yoga really should be. When you go through these motions where you're in yoga class or what, every one of those motions should be, oh man, stretching, that feels good. Letting the energy flow, right? And so, shouldn't life be like that? Every act that you do in life should be an act of yoga. And that will make you free like the wind. Okay? Because it will put you in a different dimension, a different mindset, a feeling good mindset, which brings peace to your mind, makes you feel free. Okay? Because you really are free. I mean, it doesn't matter what happens in this illusion that we call life. I don't care if you were stormtroopers broke down your door in 15 minutes and carried you away. You're still free in your mind. Kind of makes me feel like, and people go, yeah, but that's really hard. That would really be hard for me to feel like I was free if I was. Well, think about where you are right now. You're a slave. You're in a situation where you've already been carried off by the stormtroopers because they're all around us and they're calling all the shots and they're the ones that are causing chaos and havoc and all the negative things in the world right now, the dark things, whatever you want to call them. Guess the point I'm trying to make is that you're a free spirit anyway, you know. And even yourself, whatever you call yourself, isn't really you. It's a set of belief systems that you call you. Okay. But that other essence, when you were a kid, when you were a baby, before you were programmed, that's you. That's the closest to what you call God or the creator or the creative force. That's the closest you're going to get besides nature, which is also a good way to get close. I wonder, it must have been really hard, for the Apaches to get carried away, put in boxcars on a train and taken out of their land that they loved in Arizona and taken to Florida where there were mosquitoes and bugs and malaria and pneumonia and all that stuff. A lot of them died, but their spirit remained strong. You know, the ones that tuned into that power always had that power. The really strong ones, like Geronimo. I mean, he lived to be in his 80s regardless of where he was, but that's because he probably had that mental concept of being free anyway. I'm who I am anyway. I'll play their game, and he did play their game. Even when he was incarcerated, he played their little games with them. But it became more of a spiritual warfare or a spiritual bout or strategy. Was he truly happy being away from his homeland? No, probably not, but he made the best of it. So I think about the Apache warrior and the Apache people and their way of life, and that term being free like the wind. That's kind of what I was thinking about today. And they fought physically. Of course they did. They were the most awesome warriors in the tribal people. They were probably right up there at the top with the warrior thing, because they had to be. They were physically punished. Okay. But we know they were great warriors, and most people don't know that they were great spiritual people. I mean, we're all spiritual, but they used their strong spirit and their spiritual powers. And a lot of indigenous tribes took this philosophy. Okay, the Hopi, same thing. Some people ask them, well, why do you live in this harsh land out here on the mesas in the Four Corners? And it's harsh out there. Up on the mesas, the wind blowing, and it's desolate. Okay. But yet, they grow corn. Rain comes when it's supposed to. And they say the reason that we live this way is because it helps us to depend on not just our own reasoning, but that of the higher power, the Creator, God. Okay? The spirit forces that supply us with everything that we need. And their elders, the Hopi elders, lived, some of them, to be, over 100 years old. Really, really long lives. And they lived simply. They grew their corn, okay, which was part of their religious tradition. And so they were free like the wind in a way. Non-dependence on whatever's around you, whatever societal machinations are around you, non-dependence on that makes you freer. So you want to have this mindset then that everything is going to work out or it's going to play out. And the less that you grasp at things, the less that you try to control, the more control you'll have. It'll be given to you by spirit. So try to have that mental attitude. And I like doing these kind of videos because it gives people hope. I mean, I go on YouTube and I watch the latest financial thing, and I watch everything geopolitical, geographical, you know, everything. The cosmos, the stars, what's happening with the sun. But every time you go and you check out people that are talking about certain things, like I said before, it's all either there's an agenda or they don't know what they're talking about. They're just rambling. They're not giving solace. So I thought that today I would talk, more about that freedom that we all should have and that we all do have and that we all need to realize. Okay, and we should also realize that another thing I want to talk about is hooking up with other people that have that feeling that would be kindred to you. I mean, if you're going to tune into this feeling of like, yeah, I'm free like the wind and whatever, then you don't want to hook up with people that are going to challenge your feeling, your innermost feeling, or you don't want to hook up with people that are going to drag you down. You want to be with kindred spirits. So many people today, aren't kindred. They come on like they are, or they're not friends. They come on like they're friends. But it's real easy to tell a friend, kind of. I mean, there's variables, but a friend is a person that says, hey, I'm going to call you, and they call you right when they say they are, or hey, I'm going to be there, and they follow through and they're there. Or they'll just call you out of a clear blue sky and say, hey, I was thinking about you. What are you doing? And maybe talk about what's going on in the planet and how we're, positioned within that and what we can do for each other to help each other. Kind of like a tribal feeling, which I've talked about before. That's a friend. Okay, a friend is somebody that you can count on. A friend is somebody that when they say they love you, they do. They know what the word love means, really. And when you give out that feeling of love to somebody else or that feeling of even protection, looking out for somebody else, covering their back, you know, having their back, reaching out to each other because people, there's going to be more of a need for that. There's not enough of it, even within the family circle. Okay? So you have to create your own family circle. And I try to do this through different means, like my website and my little communities that I form on Google and this and that. I try to attract people Like right now, there's one called Apache Spirits, and there's another one called Apache Tracker. No, it's Arizona Spirits. I'm sorry. Arizona Spirits and Apache Tracker. And then there's Roger Thunderhands Gilbert, and I'm out there. You Google my name, you'll find all kinds of things. It's almost scary. But it is scary. But that's how you can hook up with me if you want. And you know, there's down beneath this video, there's a little thing down there that says about and share. Well, under about, which is the description of the video, I put links that you can just click on and go to spiritofcrazyhorse.com or nativeamericantaoist.com. You don't even have to know the names, just go down there and click on it. But Spirit of Crazy Horse is where I sell my book, Listen to the Wind, Speak from the Heart, which pops up right about here as I'm finishing the video. You can always go back, you know, if you see it pop up and click on that, and that's where you can get my book, Listen to the Wind, Speak from the Heart. Native American counseling with Taoist thought and all kinds of good stuff, okay? And in my other book, Emergence, which is about twin souls and Hopi prophecy and what really a twin soul is, and a lot of shamanistic stuff crammed into a novel and mixed in there with fact-based fiction, or a lot of fact about my life in Arizona. Most of it true. Some of the names have been changed to protect the innocent. um, yeah, so if you're interested, go and check that out. And, you know, if anything I say makes sense or is kind of like a breath of fresh air or free like the wind, tell other people. Say, hey, check this out video out. It might make you feel better. You know? Click the little like button and all that little BS that they have, you know, down there. But it helps me, just like your donations help me. And there's a donation button on the site. You'll find it. It says donate or whatever on there. And, you know, if you want to support my energy or the energy that comes through me that you receive, well, then that's the way to do it. Plain and simple. Give. Give from the heart. So I guess I'll just end it there today. And I always sign off with this, you know, peace be unto you, or peace to you, because I want you to feel peaceful. So peace to you, and Thunder's going to end it here today. Until I see you next time, later on.